Who are these inner Earth beings, Corey? Are they third density beings or what?
They're fourth density. They're fourth density beings.
And this graphic we had a while back is of a ship that looks more like one of the German ones, I guess, and they got these outfits on. Are these some of the inner Earth beings?
It's Maria Orsic.
That's Maria Orsic, okay.
Yeah, that's supposed to be a Vril symbol behind her, but it's a Order of the Black Sun symbol that we need to switch out.
So this was some of the German groups that actually had that original technology that developed in the late 1930s and was the seed of the original space program because they got a technological cooperation with the Draco.
Correct.
And we had Semjazi, Billy Meyer. That appears to have been Maria Orsic, as you had told us. And this was the craft. There's Maria Orsic. She was one of the people that helped to channel the plans and set up the original Draco meeting. I don't think she realized what they were going to meet when they got there. In the Himalayas, apparently where it happened. You end up, after we'd already been doing this and we already had the show come out, you end up getting brought down here. So we probably could still go another 20 minutes without anybody getting angry in the least bit. So we want to get through these alliance groups. So what happened here? Where were you and what was going on when you saw this?
I was brought down to the inner Earth for the first time. Up until then, they were just sort of a rumor that I had read on the Smart Glass Pad. We knew that there were a lot of these groups that were approaching people all over the world, a lot of them claiming to be from other planets, other star systems, when really they were from below our feet. They were telling us that for operational security reasons. But this scene right here, soon after I appeared, I was walked into this room to where I was to bathe in the pool and go through a cleansing ceremony. And, we've gone several times into how embarrassing that was.
I won't have fun with you on that again. I've already done it.
Yeah. I was about 60 pounds heavier. It was not fun being around a bunch of tall, skinny, obvious vegan type people.
With very trippy eyes, right?
Yeah.
As we can see here. So these were, as you said, the sentinels that were at the doorway.
Right.
And you end up going through the doorway, and then you meet this wonderful lady.
Yes, Kari.
And describe for us what happens when she touches your hands and how that changed you as a person.
It was surreal. She leaned over and put her hands out, and as did I. She asked me to take her hands. And then when we did, it was like part of my essence was pulled to in between us. Hers was as well, and then it sort of blended. And I had access to memories of her when she was young. But what she was doing, she was trying to get information hidden in me. And she was digging through my youth all the way up. And as she was going through my youth, I was in a parallel way seeing her youth, she's about 130 years old at her current state. They live way longer than that. So,
and they told you they're fourth density, right?
Yes, they're fourth density. And, she gleaned a lot about me, and I gleaned quite a bit about her, although it was pretty hard to fourth density mind. It's really hard for us to really kind of fathom it. We think so incredibly different. It's like you and your dog trying to have a conversation. They're just way beyond us.
And shortly after this happened to you, we are at the Boulderado, and you eat the Caesar salad.
Right.
And it all went downhill from there.
Yeah, they've been working on me for a long time about getting on a high-vibe diet, practice what you're preaching, basically. And instead, I was sitting there, eating corn dogs, processed meat, all kinds of nastiness. And I was refusing to switch over, so they gave me a little bit of... She's told me more about some learning opportunities.
The opportunity, of course.
Yeah, that was an opportunity to her, but to me, I got food poisoning, and it was the last time I ate anything that had meat in it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was intense. And we were trying to do a shoot, and Corey's literally like, you were popping Imodium ADs like Pez. And that ended up blocking your peristalsis. And Gaia has this really cool clinic next door. If you end up working out there, you can go to it. It's called Radiance Health. And you went in there and you got like special treatment. One of the things we figured out is you had like no electrolytes.
Right.
So you had no energy because you weren't eating or drinking anything. And the water was flushing out all your electrolytes.
Yeah. I don't think anyone, speaker or guest at Gaia, would ever attempt to do a show in the condition I was in.
Oh. And yet you got through it. And I mean, some of those episodes didn't make it into being broadcast, but some of them did.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing that you were able to work under those conditions. Then there was other times where you like bit on something and had a broken tooth. And I mean, we've just had one crazy thing after another. One of the things you got to realize about this is people might walk up to me or to Corey and say, oh, I want to be like you. Well, there's a great deal of work and sacrifice, and there's a great deal of karma. Because when you're on the front lines like this, you have to be so precisely accountable for everything you think, say, and do that you step a little bit out of line and you can get a really big blowback. And Corey, you've said that this is one of the things that a lot of it you don't ever want to really talk about, but you get all these personal advisories from the beings, and it's very unflattering, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's, if I don't shine a light in a dark place that I haven't shined, they do it for me. And we have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
A very uncomfortable conversation.
And my own experience with dreams and all this stuff that was happening to me for so long, same thing. Dreams can be extremely unflattering. And I was constantly like amazed at how hard they wanted me to work. Because all this normal stuff that people have of like work until 5 or 6 p.m. and then just watch TV, they're like, we don't even want you to turn the frickin' thing on. We want you to be like working all day. And we want you to be very disciplined and have your consciousness focused. And it's just amazing how accountable you have to be. So I believe this is like the SEAL team. You guys are really, as these changes that we're talking about with the sun and all this start to happen, you guys are hearing this before like the whole world is going to hear about this. Okay, so think about that. You're not just somebody watching this show. You are a participant in Ascension. We're like Morpheus up here, and you're Neo. It's true. So I want you to really kind of grok that and soak in this, that what seems to be happening to Corey is that he is what we would call the harbinger. He's the front runner. He is the first guy to break out of this very, very tightly controlled system where they don't ever usually let people come back to Earth. And if you try to speak, they will just kill you on the spot. And I want to get your confirmation on this, Corey, for other whistleblowers who may be thinking about coming forward. One of the things that one of the top Cabal insiders told me is there's a law that they know about. This is the evil ones now. You cannot shoot the Red Cross workers. So people who are going to come forward, if you practice these positive spiritual disciplines, it's not like they can just pick you off.
Well, I don't know. My experience is that there's always casualties in war, and you don't necessarily have to authorize yourself getting killed in battle.
Right.
And this is a battle.
And if you look at history, there's always people who have stepped forward bravely and gone into situations that seemed impossible. And that's not anything that we can't continue to do. This is a war, it is real, but also knowing the eternity of the soul is part of what fuels people who are whistleblowers to come forward, because they realize, yes, something may happen to you, but in the grander sense, you're just getting out of the prison down here, right? And you die with honor. That's not a bad thing at all. So let's go through more of this. So Krishna, right? One of the types of beings that we hear about in the Mahabharata, because there are others. They describe reptilians in the Mahabharata too. They're called the rock. I forget.
I've got to get you the updated pictures.
Yeah, these are old ones.
No, they're the incorrect ones too.
Oh, they're incorrect. Okay.
They're coloring and all that. That was wrong.
Okay. But how accurate are these?
These are accurate.
Okay. So this is one of the inner Earth groups, which actually look like people from Africa. So That was one of the things I had real trouble with other insiders. Remember I told you this, Corey, that nobody wanted to say that there were black-looking people anywhere but on Earth. And it was like there's this racism inside the cabal. They don't want black people
Big
to know
time.
that they have extraterrestrial ancestry.
Right. And you were being told that black people didn't serve.
Didn't serve in the space program.
Right. And there were people from all races that were serving. Yeah.
Very interesting. So then we found similar illustrations of these underground facilities that he saw, these underground Anshar bases, that's what they called themselves, the Inner Earth Alliance, online. We showed you this last year, but it's worth repeating. Some of these, this is stuff that we just found that looked kind of like what Corey was seeing. And then I'm going to show you some new stuff. This is one, we didn't commission this, right? This is just one that kind of looks a lot like what you saw, as we're going to see, but it was already online.
Apparently pilfered from Google.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's fair use. We have every right to do this. Okay, so, no, I believe me, I've researched copyright law like you can't imagine. So we have grottos, we have areas of water, there's caves, and then we have, this is another one that was drawn by somebody online. It's kind of hard to see. Another one from online, but you kind of get the theme here. Corey said a lot of these look similar. This is one of the early ones that we actually did commission. And so you're seeing little obelisks and little domes, and you're seeing this cigar-shaped craft up here. So would you say this is a fairly close rendition?
It sufficed for the show graphics.
Okay.
But the one that we've done.
We
more
got it coming
recently,
right now.
yeah.
These are some great debuts that we're about to get to. Now, Kari took you out and showed you where they were farming their food, right? These
Yes.
huge crops.
Yeah, they're growing it in the roots were in a crystal substrate that they were growing it in. It was like hydroponics.
And there's no star. It's like, I've heard from others that have seen this also, that the whole kind of dome is like just glowing, right?
Yeah, they create light using sound.
Very interesting. Then we have this, and you said they were preserving some very unique animals here, right?
Yes.
Animals that might have otherwise gone extinct on the surface of the Earth?
Right. From,
Oops.
I think they said it was from an era just prior to the last cataclysm.
Right. So that's where you get your giant sloths, mastodons, toxodons, giant turtles, saber-toothed tiger, all kinds of interesting creatures like that. And you actually heard a tiger, right? That was one of the funny things that happened.
Very close. Very deep rumbling in our chest. Yeah.
And then this is where it got really crazy, because in the center of this whole area, you saw this obelisk, right? And you said there was light coming off the top.
Right. There was some sort of a artificial type sun, a plasma ball above it. Yeah.
And what was so crazy was it seemed awfully familiar. You're telling me all this before we'd even commissioned the art that you're now looking at. And I had just gotten back the cover of my book, Ascension Mysteries, where I told the publisher exactly what I wanted on the cover. And this is what I had them put on the cover. An obelisk with light coming off the top, and in the dim background, there's the image of the planet Saturn. Remember, those people were wearing Saturn pendants. The timing between these two things was literally the same day. You came back from that vision, you told me about it, and I had just gotten the email. It was within minutes, actually.
From that vision?
From your vision of that obelisk in the garden.
It wasn't a vision. It was a... I was transported there physically.
Right. Well, a vision meaning you're seeing it, yeah.
Okay. Well, most people, when they hear vision, they think it...
Right. No, you were physically there. Yeah. Whereas this was something where I said, what do I want my book cover to be? And I got this flash, and that's what I saw.
You had the vision.
I had a vision, yes. Moving right along. This is some of the new stuff that we're really excited to bring you. I've used Corey told me, I want all these slides in the talk. I said, okay, cool, we'll throw them all in. So what are we looking at here?
I said 3 to 6, but... Yeah.
No, you said put them all in. Don't lie.
But these are the ones that haven't been colorized yet for the graphic novel.
This is some of the Anshar and the Inner Earth Alliance people?
Yes. Who all is going to go Sunday to our show? All the people not raising your hands, you gotta go. This is going to be a presentation you will not forget. It's
Yeah,
going to be
we're only
unbelievable.
scratching the surface here. There's so much new art that he's got and a whole lot of new things he's going to disclose that's never been heard before. 4 p.m. on Sunday. And what are we looking at here?
This is the Inner Earth Council. It was 7 different groups that were meeting, and this was an unprecedented meeting. Some of these groups, they don't particularly get along all that well. They're not warring or anything. They just don't care for each other. But they all got together because of what is occurring with the spheres coming in. They're calling it the Return of the Guardians, which happens to be the name of our graphic novel.
Right
But
on.
I never called them the Guardians. I never associated them with the Guardians until Kari started referring to them as so.
And you had said that this alliance formed with the people in the Inner Earth who were actually warring with each other before because the Cabal on the surface with all their high technology was now going after them as a group and trying to wipe them out.
They had probably 3-front war going between different beings and advanced military-industrial complex ran by the Cabal that were using new weapons that could reach where they are.
So this is another new one. And you saying this probably is more accurate than some of the other ones we saw before, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we're looking at some kind of flying saucer type ones. We're looking at some cigar-shaped ones. We're looking at a bunch of really cool glowing cities and pillars that kind of seem to hold the dome together so it doesn't collapse.
Egg-shaped craft.
Yeah, and then we're also seeing these spheres. What are those spheres all about? Those are the egg-shaped craft?
Yes, those are the
Okay,
egg-shaped
right.
craft, yeah.
That we talked about in our latest update on Cosmic, which I think is coming out next week,
Comes
right?
out Tuesday,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so you got to see that, definitely. BlueAvians.com. If you haven't already watched it, you can sign up there, and then that way we get credit. Okay, now this is another one. This is a really amazing shot of you standing next to Kari. You're in a ceremonial robe. There's other people standing around, and you were looking at a jaw-droppingly amazing view.
Yes, I was looking at a sprawling city complex that went on for many, many, many kilometers. And it was extremely advanced. The city was extremely advanced beyond anything I'd ever seen.
So do you think that there could be potentially millions of people in these Inner
Easily.
Earth populations?
There was easily 1 million people in that one area.
Right, because it looks like there's lights all up and down the pylons. So there could be people living in the entire pylon top to bottom.
Yes,
Apartments
and
with windows.
That's without all the structures that they had created independently of hollowing out different sort of columns that were natural.
Right, so it kind of makes sense that if you have this gorgeous view, everybody wants a window, right? So maybe those pillars give everybody the chance to have some nice real estate.
Yeah, those are the condos.
All right, very good. And then this is another one that we took from a website that you're about to launch. I was right there next to you when we did it. That looks even more high-tech and outrageous than the other one.
Right, and that's getting more accurate about when it comes to the type of buildings I saw construction-wise and the advance of the technology.
Now, the Law of One describes that when the sun does its flash, and they actually talk about Inner Earth civilizations, there were some people, some haters online that said, oh, the Law of One never mentioned that. And I went back and showed, no, it's here, and it's here, and it's here, and it's here. They say in the Law of One that when the sun does its thing, that one of the groups that assists in the ascension is the Inner Earth civilizations. And they actually told you, right, that at times they will take groups of people and bring them down there if there needs to be temporary shelter or safety from something that happens on the surface.
Right, they've done it a number of times, but interestingly enough, an insectoid type group has done this, and the reptilians have done it too during certain times. But they were the negative groups were preserving their genetic experiments. They weren't doing it to be loving and benevolent.
So I'm going to pull the old Ancient Aliens line. Is it possible? And if so, here we go. Ready? Drum roll. Is it possible, Corey, that many of the people in this audience could end up living down there or seeing this right after the sun does its thing.
It's possible. This group is extremely paranoid of human beings. So for us to go down into their sanctuaries, that's going to have to be, I think that's going to be after there's a mutual trust developed.
But they might have stuff like this that would be for us, where we get to be by ourselves, maybe not infringing on their territory, but they've built some places that we could be.
Well, we have built places like that.
Right.
There's a huge infrastructure built by the ICC that is supposed to be turned over to humanity after they're defeated.
Right.
The whole infrastructure in the solar system is supposed to be turned over to us, and then overnight we're going to have a real Star Trek type civilization.
And considering that this solar flash, as you just said a few minutes ago, we're estimating something like this could happen between 2018 and 2024, this kind of fantastic view that you got to see as the harbinger, it's this kind of stuff that other people might actually end up seeing a lot sooner than they think as we go through this transformation.
Correct. And right after the event, the technologies that are going to be disseminated to us, we're going to be so wrapped up and excited in the technologies and the information that's being released that, we're not going to be wanting to travel down there immediately. We're going to have a lot to deal with and absorb.
It's very, very interesting stuff. And then when you went into the library, you saw this hand with the crystal in it. We already did this on a Guy episode.
Right, hanging from the ceiling.
Yep. So that's on the ceiling. And then you saw these scrolls, and we now have some newer art that you just commissioned, which is this. So this library, you said, actually even has some books in it from us here on Earth.
Right. It was like going through time. You started off with scrolls. You worked up to bound type books. You even saw different types of tablets. And when you get to the very end, you see books that could have been ordered off of Amazon.com yesterday. If the ISBN numbers on them, I have no idea if the drones are delivering their books down there. I have no idea how they're getting the books down there, but
one of them's got to be Linda Moulton Howe, right?
Absolutely. A library would not be complete.
Barbara Marx Hubbard, got to be down there. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. And then you saw people in these levitating egg-like chairs, and they're meditating in there. And what are they up to?
Well, several different things. They're having basically a conference call. In when they use these machines, they are brought to what were we calling the area that where Kari's bringing me at times?
Construct.
You're calling it the construct, yeah.
It's all white, but all you see is just her and yourself.
Right. They enter a construct, and then they interact with each other mentally and show each other all kinds of visuals. But they also use it to reach out to each other at long distances or to human beings on the surface of the planet. They're trying to influence us positively through belief systems, through just information they're imparting to us. If you get information and you have no idea where it came from, there's a fair chance that it came from this group.
So it's sort of like a very cool, benevolent internet.
Yeah.